Folks, being here in Atlanta, obviously, folks know about the history of Morehouse College being 150 years college for black men, but there have been lots of drama at Morehouse over the last several months, some say several years. The Board of Trustees chose to get rid of their president, John Wilson, a graduate of Morehouse, and of course, when that decision was made, he was rather disappointed. All right, then, so we don't have the soundbite from John Wilson there, but as a result of lots of reporting being done, now we understand what was going on. Major friction between the then chair of the Morehouse board. Now all of a sudden we've seen a revamp over the weekend. The board of trustees decided to choose a new board of trustees. They also decided to appoint an interim president as well. They are saying that Morehouse is on the road to rebuilding itself and also repairing lots of damage that has taken place between the Board of Trustees, the president, as well as faculty and students. Some say that is not necessarily not the case. Let's talk to a Student Government Association president right now, who's a member of the board of directors as well, who joins us here, Jonathan Hill. Jonathan, how you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for inviting me on the show this morning.
So this has been lots of drama. That was a big story that was done over the weekend on one of the black websites that just laid bare all the issues at Morehouse. A lot of people were stunned to see all of this backbiting and the friction. How important was it for the trustees to pick a new board chair and install that new board chair now?
Right. So, one, again, thank you for that question. I think it was very important for our entire board to come up with this decision. If you saw the reports, we said that we came with a unanimous decision to, one, move forward as an institution and take this new step, which means that each and every board member in that room sort of kind of had to grab hope of what was left at Morehouse and sort of kind of push us forward. I think that, one, we have to continue to celebrate 150 years, but sort of kind of recognize where we are now in 150 years. Morehouse College right now has to redefine our identity, who we are in the 21st century, just like every HBCU. We're all struggling, and now it was an opportunity for Morehouse to sort of kind of restart and rebuild itself, and I think that's exactly what we did this weekend, and I'm very proud of such.
William Taggart, who was the chief operating officer, now interim president. It's going to be a national search for a new president. Then you have Willie Woods, who just joined the board last year, who is now board chairman. As a student, but also a board member, what must this board do to interface with the students and the faculty, not just the alumni?
Of course. I think what this board has to do is truly demonstrate what it means for Morehouse to exist right now in 2017. What that means is that we sort of kind of have to tangibly deliver to the students and faculty as far as how do we plan to deliver and sort of kind of rebuild our relationships between the board, the students, and the faculty. Two, we have to find a better way to engage our alumni, our young alum as well as our older alum, the Spike Lees, the Jay Johnsons, and the Samuel Jacksons. Those are the individuals who, don't get me wrong, have the name of Morehouse, but they aren't the only Morehouse men left.
And speaking of those individuals, they actually wrote a letter and signed it, calling the Board of Trustees to step up and lead.
Correct. And if you don't know, they actually reached out to me. I'm the reason that the letter actually got to the Board of Trustees. And as a student, when a Jay Johnson, Spike Lee, or Samuel Jackson reaches out to you, I mean, one, you stop in awe for a second and say, wow, these are some of my biggest heroes. But secondly, I appreciate the fact these are my Morehouse brothers, and their perspective on Morehouse is all love. That's the same thing that we had from the student body when we sued the chairman. It was all love. But at the end of the day, as an institution, we have to move forward together. Chairman Willie Woods and President Bill Taggart, I think, honestly, they do have a new look at Morehouse. This new leadership role right now, we sort of kind of have to just appreciate it for the moment. This is the first time a Howard man has ever led Morehouse College. That's one thing. Secondly, just to have a new chairman looking at the board, I think that Willie Woods does have a great look on the institution, whether it be our financial responsibility to Morehouse right now, or what's Morehouse's ability to sort of kind of grow and demonstrate exactly what we have to do for the outside world and the outside community. Because Morehouse College, at the end of the day, we are the beacon of black male excellence, and we sort of kind of have to demonstrate to the outside world exactly who we are and what we will continue to do for the next 150 years.
Derek, as you said, you have Willie Woods, chair of the board, didn't graduate from Morehouse, which has always been very insular in terms of leadership. But the reality is this here. Universities deal with these issues all the time. Battles between board and the president, but also the new chair made it perfectly clear that the next president of Morehouse may very well not be a Morehouse graduate, might not be a man, and so the university itself has to deal with this. That it can't be insular. You don't have to have somebody who is a graduate of the school to lead the school. That's not the way it works in nearly all universities across the country.
You know, a lot of Morehouse men just fainted.
Well, they might want to wake up.
Well, here's the thing. You know, the old gospel hymn said life is full of swift transition. As a Morris Brown alum, attended Clark Atlanta University, I've had this young man on my show. And one of the things that are very clear for all of us is that Morehouse is too important of institution. I support it financially. I'm tremendously proud of these students who stood up and said something is wrong. They were actually denied access to a meeting. But now, Roland, I get kind of insular. Now it's time for us to come back to the House and sit our affairs in orders and put this institution back on the plane it needs to. And they got to realize that things change. And we are in a new reality now. Many of these institutions, HBCUs, kind of exist because of relationships that they've had all the way back with the White House. So it very well may be now it's time for someone different to lead this institution. College presidents have one fundamental responsibility, and that is raise money and keep the institution financially solvent. Who's ever best qualified to do that, that's who Morehouse need to go find.
Agreed.
I think it's an exciting time. First of all, let me just say I love seeing leadership in your generation. You know, we say so much about what isn't happening with young people. This is terrific. Morehouse is going to survive. It will thrive. I love what you say about money because I think that's so important. So maybe a better business model,
of course,
better communication, and get their bills and things all cleaned up, right?
Agreed. And engagement. Again, I think that now we're all talking about the traditions of Morehouse. And just like any HBCU, we love our traditions at our institution. But moving forward, maybe tradition isn't always best. Maybe it's time to break tradition. I think that I appreciate the opportunity, one, to serve on the search committee for the new president. But more than that, I appreciate the opportunity to be in those conversations where we now are saying, you know, maybe it's not going to be a Morehouse man. Maybe we need to think about a woman. The way that we're thinking now is the way that Morehouse College should have been thinking for the past couple of years. And I think that this moment right now is a moment in history where Morehouse College is about to create its name again. We're going to continue to tell our story for the next 150 years.
All right, Jonathan Hill, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank
Folks,
you.
we did reach out to Morehouse to try to get their interim president on the show and board chair. We were unable to confirm them. And so my suggestion would be to leaders of Morehouse, you might want to come do the only black television show in America that focuses on black folks to talk about Morehouse. I'm just saying, don't stay in hiding. Come talk to folks so they can get an understanding of what's happening with Morehouse. A peaceful protest turned deadly. 37-year-old black man was shot and killed by Baton Rouge police. His hands are in the air, and you still get shot by the cops.
Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
We're not gonna let hate define us.
Race is a big part of this.
If truly all lives matter, then all lives need to matter equally.
What we require is action. What we require is accountability. We understand that black lives do matter, and we will keep focused on this issue.
NewsOne Now, every weekday morning at 7 on TV1.